Welcome back to the first of the worst podcast. I am Brendan Murphy.
And I'm Steve Horrendous.
And we are not fucking around this week. We have a very serious subject for you guys.
Super serious.
The only other time we did something that actually had like real life significance, it was far and away our worst podcast, I would say.
The worst, or was it sleeping apparatuses?
Okay, so fine. We have two. We have had two.
But sleeping apparatus was a great podcast.
Sleeping apparatus is one of my favorites. It's hard. It was that one. The thing about that one was it was hard to explain to what people were like. So what does it count? I'm like, pretty much anything, really.
It's not a bed. I think it's not a bed that you want to
anything
sleep
you could sleep on. Any earthly object that is not a mattress.
Yeah. So what are we talking about then, Brendan?
We are talking about the top 10 Republican presidential candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in the interest of equal time, I think we should point out that I think that Democratic candidates, no one loves them.
Well, I think some people love one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if I did, I kind of love
that. I think there's people who love a couple of them. But there's only 3 of them, so you can't do a podcast on that.
Yeah, two have already dropped out. And
the third one is like the guy from The Wire. It's Tommy Carcetti.
It's Tommy Carcetti, which I love.
Martin O'Malley, right?
How could that guy ever become president?
God, I so want him to become president now, just because of that.
Would Rawls become Secretary of Homeland Security or something?
Lester Freeman would get a great job at the NSA or something.
And Clay Davis. Clay Davis would be a cabinet member.
Oh, absolutely, cabinet member.
If he doesn't win his taking O'Malley's vacated seat as governor.
Yeah, no, he would endorse him for that. He would endorse. Enough talk about theoretical members of The Wire, cast members of The Wire.
I actually love The Wire, casting The Wire as the president and cabinet. But I don't know if that would ever fit into a podcast, but that might just be something I do in my free time.
All right, so yeah, so we're ranking these based on not who we think. I'll tell you what I did. It's not who I think is going to win. It's not who I want to win. It's not who I'd vote for necessarily. It's just who I enjoy the most.
I mean, I kind of did it with enjoyment, entertainment value, but I did count ideology in there.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. I mean, these things are all taken into account. But I don't want you to necessarily. I'm not endorsing anybody for this nomination based on my list. Maybe I will endorse somebody who is in the middle of this.
I mean, I will say the guys I have 1 and 2, I think are, after studying it, probably the 2 candidates that I like the best, but I don't like them.
Well, because you are just a card-carrying pinko Democrat.
I'm a Democrat. Yeah, I mean, being a Democrat to me is like being a Notre Dame fan. I don't always know the players on the team every year, but I know I like them. Because my parents told me to.
I guess I would be. I consider myself independent, but
you lean left on most things.
I do, but I don't ever want to say that I'll automatically vote for a Democrat just because they're a Democrat.
I mean, I can't fathom a circumstance where I wouldn't.
I could fathom the circumstances where.
I think what people do when they're independent and want to prove their independence is they vote for the other party in some state race that doesn't really matter, and they're like, "Look, I did it."
No, I attribute it to voting for the person. And okay, well, before we did this, I think me and Brendan both went to one of those bogus online quizzes. It's called isidewith.com. And who did it say that you sided with for this election?
Okay, well, I have 99% for Bernie and 98% for Hillary. So
okay. And who was your number 3? Was Martin O'Malley your number 3?
Martin O'Malley was my number 3, and then Jim Webb, who I guess is still in it, is my number 4, but not by that much.
Jim Webb?
Yeah.
Oh, is he an independent? He's an independent, right?
Independent. Yeah. Did you do the thing where it says expand to see all candidates?
Oh, I sure did. My number 1 was Hillary.
Okay. Oh, you were Hillary over Bernie. Okay.
Well, they're both 91%, but it has Hillary above Bernie.
Okay.
So I don't want to tell you who my number 1 Republican is because I'll talk about that later.
Okay, so we're not going to go through that.
Unless you want.
Well, let's mention our match percentages as we go. How about that?
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Also, there's like if you scroll down, there's this cool thing where it says like who you sided with on some like specific issues, and some of them are shocking for me.
I was actually, because I'm kind of, I don't know, I've been reading a lot about terrorism and the war on terror.
Yeah, you love the war on terror.
It's so interesting to me. But it's kind of made me into someone who's like, yeah, let's go get them all. So I have kind of a Republican foreign policy view. Like, I definitely side, but so does Hillary. So it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, let's just to give a sampling of some of the questions. It's like, what is your stance on abortion? And then some were really random.
Yeah.
You know, some were like very commonsensical to me. Should employers be required to pay men and women the same amount of money? I don't even say, even if you don't believe yes to that question, I don't see how you could not say no. I don't see
a candidate. You mean like,
yeah, as like a candidate. I mean, in an online survey, you can say whatever you want because the anonymity is there. But as a candidate, how can you be like, yeah, men probably deserve it a little more? But there are like several that believe that.
Or they just don't care about.
They don't support.
Yeah.
Legislation that would kind of mandate equal pay. It's not that they've.
Yeah. And then there was like, do you think the U.S. should be like the government should be paying to send people to space?
Yeah, I thought that one was very random, but I said yes.
I said no.
I mean, I could. I also. Did you do the thing where you were marking how important it is to you? I marked that as very unimportant.
Unimportant, but I side with Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump on that issue.
See, I just Neil deGrasse Tyson is my guy. So, on basis of like his appearances on talk shows, I've kind of gone with that.
I like him too. I just feel like Elon Musk is smarter than anybody working for the government, and he should just.
Okay, well, so you want to privatize space travel, which is a very Republican thing to do.
Yeah, it's super Republican. I totally want to privatize space travel. You know how we'll get to space faster? When people can make money off of it.
The free market, which has done so much to improve air travel, by the way.
Well, we're not going to improve the travel. We're just going to make money on planets and like mining meteors.
Yeah. Hey, God, if we find a planet with oil, that'll be a galaxy war.
It'll be awesome. All right, let's just get into it.
All right, so Russia are at war in space. I love that.
Who is your number 10
My number
Republican candidate for president?
I have a little statement that I want to make that I thought of. This guy is my number 10, and I dislike him. I mean, I dislike a lot of these guys pretty fiercely, but at least he's the state champion of Texas among presidential candidates. You know, Rick Perry bowed out. If you're not the state champion, you got to win your own state before you go to the nationals. It's ridiculous to me that Jeb and Rubio both get to go from Florida.
It's crazy. You got to win your conference if you want to go to the
state to go to nationals. Come on.
I totally agree.
Also, possibly foreign born.
Yeah, he is foreign born, isn't he? He was born in Canada.
No, you can't be.
He is. He was born in Canada, but he was born a U.S. citizen.
Oh, okay. So it's like those guys who are born on military bases in Germany that play for the World Cup team.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, foreign born president. This one I think has been pretty good. So let's make it 2 in a row. That would be my selling point for him.
Ted Cruz. We can say his name.
Also, Ted Cruz. Also, I did. This is a funny aside. I went to a football game with a friend of mine who is a lawyer, and he tried a case in Texas. And one of the questions was, name the 3 people you most admire and least admire. And the 3 people they least admired was very common. Obama and Hitler were on the list, and oftentimes Obama was before Hitler.
Well, Hitler killed Hitler, so he can't be that bad of a guy.
And the 3 people you most admire, Ted Cruz was like 90% of them, and they're 3 people they most admire.
So it was like Ted Cruz, Rick Perry, and Tom Landry.
Something like that. I bet Jerry Jones is on there. Also, Oprah, one of the people you least admire. It astonished me. I didn't know that anyone disliked Oprah. He's like, people hate Oprah.
Oh, people hate Oprah, but I didn't know she was still on people's radar. Like, I don't know. She doesn't have a show anymore.
What is hateable about Oprah?
I don't know. There's definitely people who don't like her, though.
I mean, I don't gather that, but
I'm pretty Oprah neutral, actually.
They're the same people who are so outraged about the media being blocked at the Mizzou protest. That's like their takeaway, is that the free speech was strained, not that the KKK was on campus. So those are the people that don't like Oprah.
The KKK was on campus because it's Mizzou, though. It's now Missouri's now the number 3 state. I've decided in my racist state power rankings.
It's brutal.
Flying up the rankings.
See, I don't think you could put it ahead of Mississippi or Alabama, and I would say
I said I have it.
I would say South Carolina is pretty brutal.
I don't know. I think they might have passed it up.
I would like to talk on this for one sec. I think Mizzou is actually a more progressive school, the most progressive school in the SEC, and something like this would never even happen at the other ones. However, that is a hypothesis that will never be tested.
It could. No, I think it might not happen. What about Florida?
Georgia and Florida were the 2 I thought that maybe have like some progressive, because Georgia Athens is like super artsy and liberal. But I mean, come on.
And Florida's like its own country. It's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, Gainesville, I don't think is
much of its own country. It's more up north, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I know that Tallahassee's pretty fucked up, but I don't think Gainesville is in that kind of setup.
Yeah. Ted Cruz also. I've never seen Ted Cruz and Tom Ricketts in the same place at the same time. They look exactly the same.
Tom Ricketts is sad because this guy was Scott Walker.
Oh yeah.
He was bowed out, and I'm okay with a president who didn't graduate from college not winning.
So my wife is a marketing manager at a hotel up in Madison, and he announced his dropping out of the candidacy from the hotel, and they like called the hotel. They're like, "We need all this." He's like, "We need 2 American flags." They're like, "We only have 1, so I don't know what you're gonna do. Why do you need 2?"
Doesn't he have a bus? Doesn't he have like? That's his campaign was very disorganized. I would think that'd be a product you should buy in bulk.
American flags everywhere. It's like we can throw a Wisconsin flag up if you need that, since like that's your job.
Why don't you put the white flag up? Is what you should put up next to the American flag.
So I'll get to my number 10. I kind of didn't count. I didn't count them, but I didn't rank some of the people like Lindsey Graham. Like he's just like off my friggin' radar. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's not in last place or anything, but to me, I don't know what I would say about Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and like Santorum, I know he's in this election, but I haven't really heard of him since like last election.
He's in like last place.
And so I didn't rank him, and I didn't rank Bobby Jindal because I hate Bobby Jindal for some reason. I don't know why. He looks really smarmy to me, but that's a lot of these guys. So my list starts at number 10, and these first few I think are just total pieces of shit. And this is actually the guy. Oh, this is the guy who I had the lowest comp on I side with, and that's Ben Carson at 21%.
Oh, 21% is your lowest comp. I had 3% with someone, and I was 6% with Ted Cruz.
No, I'm way more into Ted Cruz apparently. I was 28% with Ted Cruz. Ben Carson, 21%. That guy, dude, he's full of shit, first off, right?
Yeah.
He's a doctor or whatever, but like he basically like cited, like he doesn't think vaccinations are a big deal, apparently, and he's a doctor.
Oh, that was one of the questions on our survey that I couldn't believe how many people were like kind of reasonable about it. Like Mike Huckabee was like, yeah, vaccinate your kids. Don't be a dumbass. Like I was like, thank you. Mike Huckabee.
And that guy's a moron.
His book is called Guns, Grits, and Glory.
So Carson, though, like there's something like that guy has some kind of crazy skeleton in his closet. He just looks like a fucking liar. He talks like a fucking liar. I think he molested children. This is just me just guessing on what this guy has in his closet. I can't know. This guy is the worst presidential candidate I've ever seen.
You know, I'm going to go into him a little later down my list, but just off what you said, you could be a genius at one thing and be stupid at a lot of other things.
Yeah, it's very possible.
It's very common in athletes.
Yeah,
but he's a genius. Clearly, he's I think is the first African American neurosurgeon or heart surgeon, one of the two. I think it's neurosurgeon.
He's a brain surgeon.
He's a brain surgeon. Yeah. But man, I don't think he reads a lot of books besides the Bible.
I don't think he has any common sense.
Also, one of the great questions from Tuesday's debate. I realize this is kind of a last week tonight scenario or this week tonight with John Oliver, where we're going to be a few days behind because the debate was like kind of early in the week.
Yeah.
Anyway, but one of the great questions was, it was a long run up and the moderator discussed how Ben Carson believes that God is fair and supports tax, and everyone should tithe equally because that's what God wants. And Donald Trump does not believe that. And whose tax pen would God like better, Ben Carson's or Donald Trump's? And it was like the audience was like so excited about this question.
I mean, that's an awesome question for those people to ask Ben Carson that question. It's great.
Well, obviously, God likes his best.
Speaking of people who love God, my number 9's Mike Huckabee.
Oh, he's a big one. He's at the little kids table. All the guys who did pretty well last time, like Huckabee and Santorum, are at the little kids table.
Was Huckabee? Oh, he wasn't at it 2 weeks ago, or like the two.
He got bumped down in the debate.
Him and Christie got bumped down.
Yeah.
In this,
they got relegated.
One. Yeah, they got relegated, but like there were some people who've been brought up, like I'm pretty sure Ted Cruz and Carly Fiorina weren't in the first. They were in the kids table the first one. They've been called up for a few after that.
Oh, Carly's making a push here.
Oh yeah, we'll get into her later. But Huckabee, I mean, he like based his whole campaign around like siding with Kim Davis not giving out gay marriage licenses. It seems like.
Republicans love these like derelict morons. Like, remember when John Campaign was like, "I'm going with this John McCain," not John Campaign. John McCain was like, "I need a Hail Mary. Let's go with Palin and Joe the plumber."
I don't think he didn't need. I love John McCain, by the way, and that's the Republican I might have voted for. And then he signed up the biggest moron ever as his vice president candidate.
He also changed his mind on every key issue.
Well, he got forced to
except that he loved war. He always loved war.
Yeah, he loves it. Who is it? This is Donald Trump.
John McCain gets drunk and like wants to fight everyone in the bar. I can totally see it.
Was Donald Trump the one who criticized him for like getting captured?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Who's your number 9?
My number 9 is this guy's the biggest piece of shit of all of them. I really do believe that. He's against gay marriage, abortion, and he's someone I was talking about that equal pay for women. So like in this thing, you can fact check them. And he had something in his book about how there should be one parent at home at all times. And historically, that's been the woman.
Who is this?
So this is Santorum. The only good thing about Santorum is that when he was being such a bigot in the previous election, Dan Savage started a contest to make a bastardized definition of what Santorum means, so it pick up as like the Google search. And here is what won, and what was and for a while was the actual top search term for Santorum. The frothy mixture of lube and feces that is sometimes the byproduct of anal sex.
I vaguely remember that. Whenever I just hear his name, I think of that Metallica song, Sanitarium. 100% of the time, it should be his entrance music.
Yeah, he's and he's also from Pennsylvania, not like one of these crazy ass states.
No, he's from like a normal place. He's just like not on the radar this year, but he's a crazy person. He wasn't on the radar in the last election until he like randomly won Iowa.
He was in second place. He was the runner-up last election.
Yeah, but like at the beginning, like around, so we're still so early.
Here's the scary thing: that the runner-up, the McCain election was Romney. Yeah. The runner-up, the Bush election was McCain. So,
I mean, there's gonna be huge swings, like still, like it's still so friggin' early.
Well, I mean, New Hampshire and Iowa are all that matter.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
So, someone has a surprise win or a surprise really good showing in one of those states, and they go close to the distance every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Toro. So is that your number 9 or 8?
My number 9. My number 8 is Carly Fiorina. I just love her falling forward. Ran Hewlett Packard into the ground. Ran for governor, lost. Running for president. Like, I love that.
She's just running for like head bitch in charge.
Also, how confident are you that she has a coat made of Dalmatian fur?
Oh, she would if it was offered to her.
I mean, she looks just like Cruella DeVille was the joke that I was going for. I thought of that independently, and then I searched Carly Fiorina, Cruella DeVille. So many Google images.
I don't know. I'll talk some more about her later. I side with her on something apparently on this thing. Hold on, let me see what it is. I thought there was something specifically that I sided with Carly Fiorina. I side with her. By the way, I'm 58% siding with Carly Fiorina in this election.
Oh, I should do my percentages. I was 3% with Santorum.
Okay.
And 6% with Fiorina.
41% with Santorum for me.
God, you do hate the gays.
I don't. I said I love the gays. I said I love the gays. I think it comes when it starts to come down. I bet I'm way more right leaning when it comes to the economy and the environment and things of that nature than you are.
I actually don't put a ton of emphasis on the environment, but on the economy, I am like, yes, rich people should be taxed aggressively.
I say that too, though, so I don't really understand where I got this. But I told you, if you look at these percentages, I would seem more independent. All right. So my number 8 then. Oh, it's 8 and 7. I'm in my Cuban coalition here.
Nice.
So 8, as we already talked about, Ted Cruz. That guy's just a fucking scumbag.
What a Renaissance man. He's a man of North America, Cuba, the U.S., Canada. I think it's Mexican in that guy.
Everywhere. And then he probably hates Mexicans though. I would assume since he's from
So
Texas.
does Marco Rubio.
Speaking of, the other Cuban guy is Marco Rubio, who I just want to say this before I forget. His hair is trending dangerously towards Donald Trump.
It's a Republican haircut if there ever was one.
He is just trending dangerously towards Trump land with that haircut. But I am, I guess, 56% in line with Marco Rubio.
Of all of them, he seems like the biggest politician. It's like he knew the questions he was going to get the other night.
Oh,
going into his monologues.
Yeah, so I feel like he has like these monologues set up, and he's just good at like steering whatever question is towards one of those monologues.
That is good. That is good politicking.
Because you could tell like he like gets it towards this thing, and then he's like boom, and he like locks into this like speech kind of right, and just goes.
Yeah,
and like he's good at it.
You know, these debates, I don't understand why they're so hard. You know the topic, and you have people prepping you for like a week.
Yeah, nobody's ever like, oh shit, I didn't know that.
Did you ever study for a test for like a week and not get a good grade? Jesus, I studied the night before and usually got a B or an A.
Rubio like kills these debates though.
So does Christie, which is a shame that he's fallen out.
Does he get good ratings? Obviously, I feel like Christie does good in the debates, but
yeah, maybe
I don't know.
Too reasonable.
Well, yeah,
they're populous.
That's the thing. He's like one of like we'll get into this later with a couple of the guys, but there's certain Republicans and Democrats love to be like that guy's a good Republican, even though they would never vote for him. And there's a couple of those guys, and we'll talk about some of them later. But yeah, so Rubio, I always just like my big thing with Rubio is like whenever I see a picture of him, he looks like, and I researched this, he was not in a fraternity. But he looks like the picture of like on a composite at a fraternity wall with like class of '92, and it like had like all their heads with like a generic tie, and like he always looks like that to me. But like I don't know. He's really good at debating. So if the whole election comes out of debating, he's got a chance.
Good thing it doesn't.
I think he's gonna win the nomination. That's the person I think is gonna win.
That is the people that
he's like. Is he currently in 3rd or 4th?
He's first of like around first of the actual legitimate candidates.
Does it like as a hardcore pinko, does it scare you that there's 2 candidates from Florida? Because they'll win Florida.
It does scare me a little bit. Yeah, I mean Ohio, it's gotta be Ohio. The Electoral College is ridiculous.
I was reading an article Nate Silver wrote about how like a lot of these guys, like it's so crazy because like if you live in a really democratic state and you vote in Republican primaries, your vote means so much more because of how their like independent like electoral college kind of works. Because like if a populated state like New York has a lot of votes for the Republican, has a lot of points given out for the Republican primary, except those people are never going to get their vote in the national election.
Oh, dude, that's huge for Trump. He's going to get so many novelty votes.
He totally is. I should vote for him in Wisconsin.
When you said that, I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. I was like, who would be the person? You can, though. Who would be the person that I would most like to see?
Don't you have to be a registered Republican to get that ballot?
I'm not familiar with it. I
To
don't even know
vote.
if I voted in the. I clearly didn't vote in the last primary election because there wasn't anyone running against Barack. So
Once it got to Illinois, yeah.
yeah,
All
it
right.
was. There wasn't anyone running against Barack the whole time. He was incumbent president.
Oh yeah, last time. Never mind. You're talking about. Yeah, my bad. I was thinking of like 2 ago.
We got the big win in Connecticut when I was living there, though.
Yeah, Connecticut is probably always blue. No,
For the primary, it was a battleground, but yes, I mean that whole Northeast is blue.
now that I live in Wisconsin, I'm gonna get so many more commercials.
Yeah,
It's gonna be crazy.
Wisconsin is one of like the 7 or 8 that matter.
Yeah. So who is your number 7? Now that I'm done with the Cubans.
I actually forgot to say that I'm in my minority block, starting with Carly Fiorina. So next up is Ben Carson. And
Okay.
I only have one thing to add, and that is that he was mentioned on The Wire in a season 4 episode called Corner Boys. And it was one of the kids, he goes, I want to be a pediatric neurosurgeon like that one. I'm going to say nice guy, but it's a word that starts with an N and ends with a soft A. And then Republican blogs picked up on this. They're like, Ben Carson was cool enough to get mentioned on The Wire. It's like, kind of, but more. It was more a jest. And no one who watches The Wire is going to be like, that Ben Carson guy.
Shouldn't Ben Carson's entire campaign be like, once you go black, you never go back for presidency, and then just that's his whole campaign?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how he feels about black people. His voting record would indicate not that great. His policy record, what he's on the record saying, pardon me.
I want to know like what like black people like percentages, like what their favorability ratings are of him.
I'm sure that data is available.
Yeah.
Of all the podcasts, Nate Silver should have guessed it on this one.
Yeah, we should have had Nate Silver.
We could have just had him. He didn't even have to make a list, just as like an analyst.
Could have used a Nate Silver on this one. I bet there's some like lowly like local news person we could have got. Who's like big into politics.
Oh, dude. I would love if we got one of the A-teamers. I'm a huge Ron Majors fan.
I don't think we could get Ron Majors. Man.
I used to see him in the elevator at the ABC building every day. He would be going down and I'd be going down. And I go, slow news day every day. And he'd kind of laugh it off like it was a great joke. Or 200 days a year.
So yeah. What do you got? So I didn't realize The Wire. I guess they didn't say his name, right?
I mean, he was at. Yeah, they did.
They did
because he was at Hopkins.
Okay.
So he's a Baltimorean.
Oh yeah, he's a big deal. Is he from Maryland then, technically, or?
Yeah, I guess that would be the state.
I guess they don't. He's not really representing a state because he's like not a politician.
But you would still probably get like an RMD for him if they were doing an identifier, right? Or no?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I bet something like that. So who's your number? Yeah, your number 6 then?
This guy actually was the Republican. Okay, so Carson, I had like 5%. Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
21 for me.
This was the Republican who I actually had the most in common with policy-wise.
Ooh, let's see if it's the same as me. Keep going. Who is it?
It's not. You already mentioned it. It's Bobby Jindal.
Oh, really?
Because he like supports background checks for guns, which seems like a no-brainer, but he's one of the only ones, and doesn't hate the environment.
What's your percentage on him?
30.
I'm 51% Jindal.
Let me see, like, what I agreed with him on. Hold on. In immigration, which all the Republicans like, no Mexicans. And he's like, yeah, whatever.
See, it says I agree with him on healthcare and electoral issues, but like I said, I was fine. Is he good with Obamacare? Because I said I was fine with that. So
so what I agree with him with was legalized marijuana, which I did put as least important, and vaccines, which should not have been one of the answers for healthcare. That should not have been a question. It's such a non-issue.
So that must have been where I bet that's why I got him on healthcare, because of vaccines. He must be like really pro-vaccination. So that must have been why he pops up there. That's what it says for me.
He does not support Obamacare.
I was confused why he came up with that. Okay.
I don't think any of them do.
My favorite Jindal moment was did you see how he announced his candidacy for presidency?
No.
So it was like it was there was like a camera in a tree, and it was like via YouTube video that looked like it was like guerrilla shot, but it really clearly was professionally shot, like out of a tree. And it's him explaining to his young children that he's going to run for president because it's important. It's so terrible.
Yeah, that sounds like a health insurance commercial.
It really would.
Or like maybe or maybe a life insurance commercial. One day Dad's gonna die. And when he does, thanks to Liberty Mutual, you'll be taken care of. Okay, go ahead.
My number 6 is
Oh, I didn't get to say my thing about Jindal.
Okay.
Oh. He did a push-up contest against people at BuzzFeed, which is kind of funny. Although disingenuous. And then I started thinking, like, I mean, you probably want your president to at least be capable of doing one push-up, right?
Absolutely.
However, then I contradicted my own thought because arguably my two favorite presidents, JFK and FDR, probably couldn't do push-ups.
JFK couldn't do a push-up?
He had a really, really bad back.
Yeah, he could probably squeeze one out, though.
He was in a wheelchair from time to time, so it probably depends when you got him.
Yeah. All right, my number 6 is good old boy Jeb.
Yeah, he got pretty high on my list too.
Number 6, Jeb. So Jeb's is getting punked in these debates.
I still think he's got a really good shot to win.
He needs to start getting to like just speeches and like actual votes because he needs to get off this debate trail.
Dude, I think Iowa or New Hampshire is gonna go Jeb, and then that means you're in it. That means you're in it for a long time.
Yeah, but he needs to get off. Like, he needs to get out of these big debates. He's just getting punked. He looks terrible in all these debates. He tries to do fake angry and fake tough guy. Though 2 debates ago, he mentioned he's 7-0 in fantasy football, and I need an update to know if he's still undefeated at fantasy football.
The undefeated season is way more impressive than winning a presidential election.
He's 7-0, and he had Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, which is very Floridian of him.
Yeah, what a pandering move. It just kind of worked out.
But then he got really excited about having Gronk on his team too, though. So
okay, well, that's a good pick.
But he mentioned this at a debate.
God, it would be awesome if all these guys were in a fantasy football league.
And I wish the waiver wire was like fab budget and it was real money.
Well, then Rubio be fucked because he has no money.
Yeah, no money. I don't believe that at all.
No money relative to these multi-millionaires and billionaires.
Well, he would have a packed auction bidding on guys on the waiver wire.
Yeah, he would. You're right.
Yeah, so Jeb, I'm 60% in line with Jeb.
I was of the candidates that are polling decently. He's the one I was 26% or 28% with him.
Okay, Jeb. And then my number 5, the future head bitch in charge, Carly Fiorina. I love in a debate how she refers to herself when she was like talking about the future. She's like a president. She keeps saying President Fiorina, which is an amazing move. Just like trick people into thinking that's a thing.
It is like some mindfuck thing that someone told her to do.
It's just totally, and I love it.
Like some consultant she hired, like drilled that into her head.
Like, just keep saying President Fiorina
and is laughing all the way to the bank.
Like, just keep saying President Fiorina, and it'll just like manifest itself. And that's what she does. She's a way better dresser than Hillary, and I'm gonna be the guy who just judges that. I can't handle the pantsuits; it's killing me. And I judge how they all dress too. By the way, the guys all dress pretty generically. Rubio looks like a frat boy getting his picture taken, though.
Even Obama dresses pretty low key. Like,
what did you want him to dress like? Because he's black, you wanted him more like an 8-button suit like Steve Harvey?
I want him to dress like a suave college basketball coach. It doesn't need to be a black one.
That would be great.
Like, what does Josh Pastner wear? That's what Obama should wear. He throws some checks, some ties that aren't red or blue. Never see him without a red or a blue tie.
Well, that's every candidate for.
That's every president ever. Yeah.
You can only wear red or blue ties.
Except like George Washington, who was wearing wigs and.
Bernie doesn't even wear ties all the time, does he?
I love that.
He's just a disheveled old man, crazy motherfucker.
Larry David as Bernie Sanders has been the gift of this presidential election.
Well, is he even doing an impression?
No, you're right. Just old Jewish guy.
They grew up 4 blocks away from each other. It's like they don't even have to do an accent. It's the same voice. There was a great thing though. We're sidetracked here on Bernie here. When he was on some other show and they asked him about his impression. They asked him about what he thought of Larry David's impression, and Bernie goes, pretty good. Which was fantastic. Yeah, so that Jeb was my number 6. He still totally has a chance. He could totally win the Republican.
I mean, if I were a gambling man and Vegas did odds on this shit, I would love like the Jeb at 9-1 odds right now or whatever they are.
Yeah, those we should have got the odds up, but yeah, those would be pretty good odds to probably get in on. Do you think he's doing this because he kind of has to? Like George and George are just being like, "Come on, Jeb, when are you gonna do this? You're a failure here. What's going on?"
I'll talk some Jeb because he's my number. He'll be up my next turn. Okay. Number 4. I mean, I think that.
Oh, I guess you're already because I was already on Carly. So yeah, we're at 5 and 4 for you.
I'll skip to Jeb and he's 4.
Okay.
He's kind of the Danny Baldwin of that crew in a way, but he wasn't really the fuck up. This would be like if Danny Baldwin somehow like Fair Game was this huge box office smash, and Glenn Ross was kind of a bust, and Alec Baldwin was doing off-Broadway plays and made-for-TV movies, and Billy was doing all these high-budget thrillers. That's kind of what happened.
Like, don't you feel like if he would even have a better chance if George Bush was never president? George Bush 2. I don't think his dad really hurts him. Not that his dad was a great president.
Conservatives, it hurts him. Yeah. Even with conservatives because your identity just becomes too intermingled with one family. It's a similar problem that Hillary has.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The thing is, Hillary just never stopped running for president. For 8 fucking years.
You're right. She just
never stopped.
She's just political robot.
She just has kind of been too much in your face to like ever think that she wasn't a part of the picture, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God. While we're at it, there's a Benghazi movie coming out. And it's directed by Michael Bay. It's directed by Michael Bay. It's called like The Brave 13, the story of Benghazi. And I'm not trying to marginalize that people got killed there. It was brutal. But that is so financed by like Sheldon Adelson or something. Or the Koch brothers.
It's going to come out like right before.
Release. And I saw that commercial during the Republican debates.
That's amazing. It's definitely financed by the Koch brothers. It's amazing. So who else? So Jeb was your number 4, but we skipped your number 5.
Rubio, who had a great week this week. We need more welders and philosophers. Welders actually make money.
Philosophers make more money than welders.
Is that true?
They I saw a stat. Well, philosophy professor makes like twice as much money as a.
Well, philosophers just go to grad school.
Yeah,
but I kind of agree.
Professors probably
go to college and learn a practical skill.
Oh, my favorite Rubio thing he said this week. It was amazing. When he said 40% of America doesn't have a job, 40% of Americans don't have jobs, which like is totally true because it includes children and like retirees. But like, he didn't say that. He's like 40% of Americans don't have a job right now. I was like, well, that's insane.
That's the ultimate politician move. It's not factually inaccurate.
No, he's not.
But it's incredibly misleading.
Well, there's so much of that when it comes to the job stuff. Like every single politician, Democrat or Republican, is lying about job numbers.
Well, they were so concerned about unemployment, and it's under 5%, which was their number.
But it's not really.
Well, because people drop out of the workforce, but but it behooved them to it behooved them to champion the numbers when they were high, though. So
yeah. No, I know. They just both sides are just fucking with those numbers. The dropping out of the workforce thing is probably the most.
That is ridiculous.
That they count that because like that's just like it's crazy that they don't count that as unemployed. Or that they don't talk about that part of like what that.
One thing I'll say is like I'm a freelance worker right now, and I don't know where I would fall on that spectrum.
Yeah, it's a great question.
So I mean, like maybe there's some of that too.
Yeah, like technically where they would put you on that spectrum. That's a great point. Yeah. So am I on my number 4?
So I did 5 Rubio and 4 Jeb. Jump backwards. But
so my number 4 is, I think he's the guy that all Democrats love, and that's John Kasich.
Oh yeah, I have him pretty high.
Democrats love John Kasich because he has like a lesbian daughter or something like that, right? Why do Democrats love John Kasich so much?
I have a backdoor theory, and that's because he would get destroyed by Hillary because there's nothing inspiring about him. He's just like another middle-aged white dude, and she would just destroy him.
I think they identify.
Yeah, but he's a Bush, and that's like some sort of story.
Well, a Bush versus Clinton election.
It'd be like another Bills Cowboys Super Bowl.
Chris Berman's into it. But yeah, I don't know. Kasich, like, so he's like socially kind of liberal. Is
Not
that what
really.
Is?
He's pro-gay marriage, but he wasn't like 4 years ago. So like even that is kind of.
Oh, and he also thinks marijuana is like the worst thing in the world.
Oh, that was a huge issue for him because it was up for legalization in Ohio.
And he just thinks it's the devil because it's a gateway drug or whatever. But like, I love when people talk about like that, like, was it a gateway drug? Am I using the wrong term?
No, that's what they say.
But like, isn't the gateway drug actually alcohol? Like, or like cigarettes? Like, nobody goes like straight to doing drugs before drinking alcohol.
The whole gateway drug thing is
it's alcohol, but that's legal. So I don't understand. Like, the argument is so flawed.
The whole gateway drug thing just doesn't make a ton of sense.
I get the logic though. Like, nobody that goes straight to heroin. Nobody's just
okay.
Like...
I mean, if you've been partying hard for a while, if you're doing coke,
yeah, exactly.
Weed and booze. It's not like
that's what I'm saying. Like, booze is the gateway drug.
And you're like, let me get some blow. You've probably been doing both those things for a very long time.
Exactly. So it's like, if your argument is that it's a gateway drug, so it can't be legal, then alcohol can't be legal. So that's flawed.
Yeah, I mean, also to your point, weed and coke are like very different. Very different experiences.
One can make your heart stop.
And one actually will make you think your heart is gonna, actually probably both will make you think your heart's gonna stop with the paranoia sometimes. But
yeah, Kasich. I'm 56% in line with Kasich.
I was not as high as I thought I would be because he's actually fairly conservative.
He yeah, I mean, you probably hate the idea of balancing a budget, I would assume.
No, I don't. The last president did was Bill Clinton. I love the idea, but I would just do it by like cutting military spending, which they fuck.
Well, we'll get later on to my guy. Later on, we'll talk about cutting military spending. But so my number 3 is the Republican, who I have the highest percentage in line with, 69%. Donald effing Trump. I am apparently 69% in line with Donald Trump on this policy. That's almost up to where I am with Martin O'Malley. But that's the thing. So I think Donald Trump would be well. First off, he's obviously ranked as high because he's one of the most entertaining people around.
Yeah,
on these debates. But like, he's sneaky, like not that Republican.
Okay, so Trump is my number 3 as well.
So let's talk. Yeah,
I don't think I actually like. I thought he was. I was surprised at some of his stuff. Like, he's not gun control, although I guess you can't really run for the Republican presidential candidate and be pro gun control.
Yeah,
and he's pro life. Here's why he can do that, because he has never run for office. So the Republicans who typically run for who have political track record from that area have had to be pro-choice and pro-gun control, i.e. Mitt Romney, because you can't get elected in those areas locally.
You mean, okay, yeah,
in the Northeast.
Yeah,
but he's never run for election, so he can just kind of make it up, which is terrific.
Because he doesn't have it. Yeah, exactly.
So other people are flip-flopping and pandering, but because he has no record, he's just saying that this is what he believed all along.
No, so they asked him about it a couple debates ago about the pro-choice, pro-life thing, and he said, well, he actually changed his opinion on it in some year because of something that happened in his life, or something like in like a family member's life.
I'm sure in one of his like 5 biographies it came up.
But yeah, He says some stuff like he doesn't make he's not consistent on anything, and he doesn't he's never any details.
Oh yeah. Well, I saw a 60 Minutes interview with him about 2-3 months ago where he looked honestly kind of presidential. And he was like, my tax plan will be revolutionary. And he had said that he thinks he should be taxed more. So I was pretty pumped about this.
He actually agrees that rich people should be taxed more at a higher percentage. But then
his actual tax plan cut the top tax rate to 25%, but he'll get it with all like the corporate taxes, he says, which is what everyone says.
Well, but to be fair, the top tax rate is 25%, but the lower ones are way lower too.
No, they're not. They're not.
No, that's what we talked about in this last debate. He said it was 15% for everybody.
He's cutting it. Okay, so he's very excited that 50% of Americans will not have to pay taxes, but 47% of Americans don't pay taxes now. That's like another one of those.
He was saying the lower tax bracket was 15%, which is crazy low. They all these Republican people are just trying to buy votes with crazy tax proposals that are like insanely low. Ted Cruz being like 10% for everybody is nuts.
That is so a flat tax is absurd. It's so regressive, and it screws poor people. I had a guy say to me once, now I'm getting heated. Now I'm getting unfunny. I had a guy say to me once, he's like, if I buy a $50,000 car, I should have to pay a high sales tax. And I was like, yeah, that's fair if you want to tax it, if you want to have a higher sales tax on a car, but raising sales tax on milk and bread and cost of living purchases is not a fair way to do it, in my opinion. But
that's not. I don't think that's what he was talking about. Huckabee has some crazy one like that.
Well, right? A flat tax generally means you're raising sales tax.
So sales tax is going.
Sales tax goes up, and that's
to that same percentage. To that same percentage, yeah. Because like Cruz is always like 10% on everything, and it's just like, but you don't pay any taxes on your first 36,000. And I'm like doing the math in my head, and I'm like, he's just buying votes because like in my head I'm gonna have way more money, but that's never gonna happen. First off, also that's never gonna get approved.
No. And the other thing about
there's people at home just like doing the math and just being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have so much more money if this guy becomes president. I want to vote for him.
Well, the thing is that everyone says they're going to close the loopholes, and that's how they'll make up the gap. Every politician ever has said they were going to close the loopholes.
Carly Fiorina says she's going to make a 3-page tax code.
Well, that sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, I'm sure that the 3 million pages they have is not a great idea ever, but like Warren Buffett and Sheldon Adelson and Charles Koch, they have departments of lawyers that get around the tax code. That's their job.
Yeah. Well, that's why she was. If you make a smaller tax code, you just make it not as many weird like loopholes and things.
But that could be, lawyers are awesome at taking things for interpretation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the entire basis of the profession.
But the thing is, if you have 3 million pages, there's more to take into.
You're right.
More things to dig into, right? Like the less things you have to dig into, the less things. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Taxes are an incredibly complex issue, as are so many of these things.
Oh, and the favorite part about Ted Cruz is like, and we'll abolish the IRS.
I heard that the other night, and I couldn't stop laughing. It's a great move because it's something that everyone hates.
Yeah, it's a very like running for student council president.
The IRS is the dentist of government agencies. No one looks forward to the IRS.
It's a very running for student council president move. Like we're just gonna get rid of the
IRS. No lunch every day.
That's what. Well, Bernie Sanders is that guy. Bernie Sanders is the pizza for lunch every day guy. He's just gonna get anything you want. He's gonna give it to you, and it's all gonna work out for free. The Republicans are trying to be the other guy who's like, we're gonna take away the bad stuff, but not
everything. Anything else. Everything you love will be just the same.
Exactly. They're going the reverse way, and they're two going head to head in the student council election. All right, who is your number 3?
Okay, so reason I can't be a presidential candidate is because I don't do math. I did 2 number 3s, so I have 11 people on my list.
Go ahead.
Which bumps Ted Cruz out of the top 10.
Oh, sorry, Ted.
So I have Chris Christie. I don't know if he got on yours, and I don't think he's that good a Republican. My only pro with him is that he's an unabashed Jerry Jones supporter, and that's the opposite of political pandering, and I think it's kind of funny. because Giants fans hate the Cowboys a lot. Like we hate the Packers, kind of. It's to that level. So I think that's pretty hilarious.
I kind of love Chris Christie, so
he's pro Springsteen, which if you're from New Jersey.
Well, you can't become governor of New Jersey and not be pro Springsteen.
Although my friend's wife is from Jersey. She's like, yeah, I just don't care for him. And I was like, what?
More of a Bon Jovi person?
Actually, she is.
Let's see. Well, you have two options.
I don't think that's a choice. I think that's
you just take both. If you live in New Jersey, you don't have a choice. You have to take them both.
Well, I would say that you could just, take the good one.
I assume you got to be a fan of one of them.
She was a Bon Jovi fan, and that just made me sadder. Like I would prefer that you were like they both kind of suck. But I don't even want to classify them together.
Oh, they're very classified together. Big time rock musicians, very successful from New Jersey.
Yeah. One
working on music.
One Bob Dylan said is the next version of him, and one Bob Dylan probably doesn't know exists. And that being Bon Jovi is Bob Dylan's protege, of course.
Who's your other number 3?
My other number 3 is Trump.
Trump.
I mean, he could be pretty convincing. You gotta say.
It's like, what do people like? It's just like the way he commands a room. Is that why people want to vote for him?
And I've read several accounts that say one-on-one, he's he seems charismatic and interested in when he talks to people, and that is such a part of being a politician.
It's how Obama won.
It's how people win in Iowa and New Hampshire, especially.
Yeah. Obama won because he was great at talking.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real, he didn't have a full body. He didn't have a great track record. Or not a great, it just wasn't an existent track record.
Yeah, it wasn't, he didn't have some of if you looked at his history, it wasn't there compared to some of the other people. Yeah. But he's just great at speaking. And Trump isn't the same kind of speaker as Obama by any means. But and he just command a room and people like that he doesn't give a crap. Forget all this PC bullshit.
I mean, that's the same mindset that got George Bush elected. I want to have a beer with this guy.
Yes.
Ironically, he doesn't drink because he's a recovering alcoholic.
Oh, Donald. He's probably recovering a lot more than alcoholic. Alcohol is probably just his gateway drug, I would assume.
No, he's addicted to himself. It's the Jimmy McNulty syndrome.
It'd be kind of cool to have Melania Trump be the first lady, though, right?
Oh, that's been of all these SNL sketches about Trump. That's always been the funny part to me. No one's been like, "What about an immigrant first lady?" Republicans, I gotta think that when that actually happened, would lose their fucking shit. Right?
Probably.
And it's his third wife.
Oh, I didn't know it was 3. I knew it was 2 at least.
We might need to get fact checked on that. I might need to get fact checked on that.
Whatever, you can just make up things. I learned that in debates.
My number 2 is Kasich. Whatever. He's pretty boring.
It's pretty boring. Yeah, friendly to the Democrats, it seems like.
But he really shouldn't be.
I love that Donald Trump, every time Kasich says that he balanced the budget in Ohio, Trump's like, "Well, you got lucky with the oil." Every single time. He's like, I can balance the budget too if a bunch of oil comes out of nowhere.
That is probably true.
I love that he says that. You generate all these times. What do you think about the oil? And Donald is always like, you got all the oil. All right, my number 2. Maybe your number 1?
I mean,
because you haven't said his name, and
I think it probably is.
It's Rand Paul.
Yeah, my number 1.
Rand Paul cracks my shit up nonstop on the debates. Nonstop. Also, how ridiculous it is that his name's Rand.
Oh, I mean, are we all going to start naming our kids after obscure authors we like? Are there going to be a bunch of J.K. Rowling's kids?
It's not just obscure, though. It's because his dad is super libertarian Ron Paul. And
I mean, I know that's why, but.
And she's the fucking idol of the super conservative.
By the way, I got halfway through that book. That book fucking sucks.
Oh, it's
super boring.
I had to read it in a philosophy class. It's so bad. It's a terrible book.
It's Atlas Shrugged, by the way. I mean, we should. You're supposed to tell your audience what you're referring to.
Ayn Rand. Yeah,
Ayn Rand.
Rand Paul, though. Rand Paul kills me on all these debates. I love now that his new move is basically like, none of y'all are conservative. Only I'm conservative.
That's another thing the consultant probably told him to say, but it's an effective message.
He's like, you can't be conservative if you want to spend more money on it's a great point. He's like, if you want to spend more money on the military, that's not conservative. That's not spending.
Yeah, although he's backed off a little of his like, let's end all our foreign occupations, which is actually a terrible idea. So that's good. It's good when people are like, that maybe wasn't the best idea, and then change their mind. That's one of the things that I hate about politics is when people are like, now that I think about it, I was wrong. Although
they're like flip-flopper.
They would never say it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, good. Like you saw how something was working. We're like, oh, this is not as good an idea as I thought. Or you thought about it more. And we're like, I changed my mind.
Also, am I crazy? He doesn't sound like he's from Kentucky at all.
No, I would love to look at his educational pedigree.
Like he doesn't sound like. Let's look that up. Rand Paul.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Here's the thing. He's a conservative, but he's anti-gay marriage and pro-life.
He's a libertarian.
Well, he's a libertarian, but those are but their whole message is keep government out of my life and don't let the government make many choices for me.
What do you mean pro-choice?
He's pro-life.
Pro-life means that you don't like abortion.
Exactly. He doesn't like abortion, which if you're a libertarian, that's not your the government doesn't get to make that decision.
Oh, I get you. I got you.
You get what I'm saying?
Never mind. I thought you said I was confused on what you were saying. Yes, no, but he just has to say that to have any chance in these elections.
Oh, he actually his pedigree is not as like blue-blooded as I thought. I mean, Baylor's a pretty good school, and Duke for medical schools, obviously fairly impressive. But
wait, is he a doctor too?
Yeah, he's a doctor.
But he doesn't go by Dr. Rand Paul. Like, he should bring that up to Ben Carson at some point. Because Ben Carson's always doctor. Everybody has to call him doctor. But nobody calls Rand Paul doctor?
No. He also has kind of a Jerry curl, which is funny.
Oh, yeah. He's kind of a good-looking guy in a weird way. Much better looking than my number one, Chris Christie. I love Chris Christie, and it has to do with that weird Jerry Jones stuff. Just being blindingly loyal to some football team that, like, everybody who votes for him hates. I think of all these people, he'd be the person I'd want to hang out with the most.
I will say that I think governor is actually the shittiest political job because there is not a state out there that's in good shape financially. And all the chickens are kind of coming to roost right now for all these governors.
In my head, it's the job that makes the most sense to become president, though. I mean, I know there's not like one route, but like it's the job that has the most in common with being president.
Governors don't have a boss. I mean,
yeah, it's like you're just like a little president.
However, a lot of presidents I don't like, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, governors.
Yeah, but so was your boy Bill.
He was. Yeah,
what was your guy JFK?
He was a senator, but he would have run for governor if
he needed another run, like time or
so
whatever.
it was set up that like a guy was gonna either the incumbent senator or the incumbent governor were not gonna run.
Oh, so then he just went for it.
He went for whatever was there.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I mean, the Clintons and the Bushes are the new American dynasties because the Bushes have a prospect. Do you know about this Jorge Bush kid?
No.
High upside.
A high upside prospect?
He's a high upside prospect.
Oh,
George
no
Bush.
Wait, Jorge Bush?
I mean, they call him Jorge because he's actually I'm going to show you. This kid is 39.
Who's he related to?
He is. Let me get this for you.
Oh, look at this guy.
He's Jeb's kid.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because Jeb's got the Hispanic wife.
Yeah, right? He's a big time.
Wait, how old is Jeb?
This kid's 39. Jeb's got to be like 60 then at least, huh?
Yeah, how old is Jeb? That's where this came from. Also,
Jeb is 62. Jeb has a 39-year-old kid and he's 62. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, he didn't waste any friggin' time. That said, I just totally put together that we'd have a Mexican first lady if he became president, and there's no way any of the conservatives would like that.
No, the other thing is like it's kind of like the reason that, although they can be like, yeah, I mean, we're not racist. Look, someone we didn't vote for lives in the White House. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I think we should talk a lot more about Jorge Bush.
He's a commissioner of the Texas General Land Office.
He's still kind of got that dopey Bush look to him, even though
totally
he's like,
does.
even though he's got like darker skin,
like just like generations of inbreeding and cross-eyed.
He's got the weird eyes, like the weird like lost eyes of the Bushes.
I thought he was one of like the real fuck up kids. I didn't know he was Jeb's kid because they got two other brothers that I mean, by any measure aren't fuck ups, but their dad was the president. So, I mean, like if they started a venture capital firm, it'll probably just kind of work out.
Absolutely. Didn't Bill Clinton have like a fuck up brother?
Yeah, Willie Clinton.
No, there's no way his name was Willie. It wasn't
Willie
Bill
Clinton.
and Willie. They didn't have the same name.
Oh shit, it wasn't. It was something like that then. It wasn't George.
Yeah, the Bushes. Do you think that other Bush daughter maybe is like pushing for something? Barbara, not the one that's not on the Today Show.
I don't know. I mean, I think you have to wait like 20 years. They're so young. Like I mean, to me, it seems like Chelsea Clinton will definitely be a Democratic senator from New York someday.
Let's see why she couldn't be.
I mean, she could probably be today if she wanted to. But I don't know.
I'm all about these people at least like sending more people.
Roger
to the
Clinton. Roger. Definitely Roger.
Roger Clinton. Absolutely Roger Clinton.
He's listed as an American actor and musician. And brother of Bill Clinton, according to Wikipedia.
Oh yeah.
He was in Biodome and Fred Claus.
My wife was in Fred Claus, so
what?
Well, she was like an extra. It was filmed in Chicago.
He had a hockey mullet in the 80s.
Oh, he absolutely did. I vaguely remember what that dude looked like. Oh man, I just need to start I need to get on Jorge Bush's future like council. Let's get close to him.
Oh, dude, this kid has been bred to be a president.
Oh, he's perfect. He's got all the rich white people connections and like the right color skin to be elected in 15 years.
He's only 5 years younger than Rubio. And here's what I think about Rubio. I feel like it's too soon.
He's
44 is really young.
What was the last president? How old was Obama when he was elected the first
time? He might not have been 50 yet.
44. So like Rubio would be like 45. We would say. Right.
Clinton was younger than we think too.
Yeah.
Obama was 46 when he got elected.
So not much different, actually. Not a whole lot different. A year younger. You just forget because like what that like candidacy, like 8 years in the White House is.
Well, yeah, because he looks 70 now. Because it just ages you.
It's terrible for you.
It ages you in just a ridiculous way.
Also, Hunter, if Rubio got elected president, he'd be bald.
And that would screw up his
by the time he was
re-election.
Done. I don't know. You think you could just knock? Yeah, maybe you wouldn't get reelected because you're bald.
You'd be that unattractive. Been a while since we've had a bald president.
Oh, never. I think we're never going to have one again. We're just us balds are just discriminated against nonstop.
I mean, you had your day, Nixon into Gerald Ford. I mean, fucking LBJ was bald.
Back in the day.
Back in the day
when you got to wear when you could wear like a cool hat.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great bald presidents, though. I'm thinking about it now. I mean, the early guys all had the wigs, so I guess we don't really know.
Yeah, we don't know at all about like Thomas Jefferson.
Lincoln, great bushy head of hair.
Yeah, Lincoln was not a bald.
It's funny the way the American history is funny to me because basically between Lincoln and Eisenhower, no one talks about any of those presidents.
Nothing.
Teddy Roosevelt, I guess, but like. That's it. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt, too. I don't even know if he's considered that good or just kind of considered entertaining.
So who was president after Lincoln? Was it Ulysses S. Grant?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess he's pretty famous, too.
Yeah, but he was a terrible president. because he's an alcoholic. He was a full-blown alcoholic when he was in the White House. I guess that'll happen when you just blindly
all that war.
Just blindly lead people to slaughter because you're a terrible general that just has more people and can win on numbers.
It was actually on Andrew Johnson.
Oh, but he probably was a vice president.
Well, he was
probably.
shit. Yeah, he was vice president.
He was probably, but I think U.S. and also U.S. Grant, by the way, it's a great name. If we're running for president, to use the U.S. part.
Yeah.
All right, this has been an enlightening conversation.
Another history lesson. I hope we kept it lighter and funnier.
Who's your official endorsement for Republican candidate for president?
Okay, yeah, I screwed up the order of presidents too. FDR was before Eisenhower because I don't read books. My official endorsement, I guess. I don't know. God,
you have to endorse somebody for the Republican nominee.
This is gonna sound crazy, but if I had to pick one,
and you can't just pick one because you think they'll lose to the
no.
Democrats.
If I had to pick one, like a guy who is probably capable, and I think this is gonna be. I can't believe I say this. I think Jeb. If I had to pick one, like he has the experience. Like I tend to agree. I mean, he knows how to be a politician. I guess maybe he doesn't. He's getting his ass kicked right now. I mean, I would hate every second of it.
I'm endorsing my number one, Chris Christie.
Yeah, well, he's got no shot.
You mean so I have to endorse somebody who I think has a shot?
No, but
Chris Christie. He had a shot 4 years ago.
I think it would probably be really hard to win coming from one of those states as a Republican.
You don't win your own state. You sure he can win his own state?
I don't know how popular he is there right now.
Right. If you're popular, you can win your own state, even in like one of those other states, right?
I mean, it's hard. Al Gore didn't win Tennessee, and that's why he lost.
Even though he had more votes.
That's why he lost, even though he had more votes and probably won Florida. Thank you, Jeb Bush, actually. So.
Also, has Jeb been working?
No, but he's kind of one of those people who's just been like preparing, not as publicly as Hillary, but
yeah, I always find it weird. Where it's like when your last thing in office was like 8 years ago.
It's a good point. The game done changed.
Yeah, yeah, you should have been more out in the open. Like at least Hillary like kept her face everywhere you look. There's Hillary. And
was Secretary of State for 4 years.
That's a real ass job. Yeah.
I mean, one thing about Jeb, that logo is just brutal.
It's not a good one. Jeb exclamation point.
He's like, let's be Obama, and then you get a really clever logo.
Do you think when he goes to like a Hispanic speaking event, like does his wife go to things and like speak in Spanish to like Hispanic communities and have an upside down exclamation point at the front of the logo?
I hope so.
Every time I look at it, I feel like there should be another exclamation point upside down at the beginning of it for some reason. It looks like the name of, also is like, what's his real name? Is his real name Jeb?
John Ellis Bush.
It's a Job situation, right?
It is, yeah.
it's a Job situation, like for Arrested Development.
I mean, that is one thing that I think goes against him is Jeb, President Jeb. Fucking Europe is gonna be like, of course their president is Jeb. They already hate us.
I think they hate us.
It's one letter removed from the guy who was running the Beverly Hillbillies.
Don't you think Europe will just be more offended that we voted another Bush in?
Yes, absolutely.
Way less concerned about his first name.
Absolutely, you're right. They're gonna be like,
all right, man. This has been fun.
This has been fun. Hopefully you use this to make an informed decision in the election in a year, because that's how far away it is.
All right,
51 weeks from now.
Feel free to follow us, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at First of the Worst, and subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher and things like that. This has been fun. I'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later, bud.
All right, bye.